for my class here today. If I were to compare my class to something, it would be a book. Not because it's enjoyable or because it's the beginning of an 11-part series, but because the writing is impeccable. It's true what they say about books. You can't judge them by their cover, and you certainly can't form a well-based opinion until you've read it all. The real comparison lies in the changes we've all gone through in our time at Vermont Common School. From start to finish, every character has had their own plot, but every time we think one character's plot line might stray too far away from everyone else's, it comes winding back like a stream to a river. Like any other book, my class started off slowly. We saw everyone's plot lines being revealed one at a time. We learned that Mia was an inspiring artist, always in the art room whenever she could. It was and has always been fascinating to see what Mia could create using just a pencil. We learned that Gabe was a strong intellectual and always did anything he could to help, even if it meant spending an hour working on algebra. We learned that Henry France was an amazing writer and later an aspiring chef. And I can still recall one of my favorite stories I've ever heard in language arts class. I won't go into detail, but it was about a platypus that did interesting activities. We learned that Henry Sadler was the ultimate explorer and hero, always going above and beyond in every nature or environmental task he was given. Even if he wasn't given the task, he would still find a way to help to do it. We learned that Yvonne had an incredible talent for blending together a mixture of sounds of all different genres, whether it was classical, dubstep, and much more I'm sure he has yet to share with us. We learned that Charlotte couldn't be more interested in the sciences. I feel as though if I accidentally hit a piece of bark off a tree, she would nurture it until it had regrown, and then make sure to put an electric fence around it so no one could harm it again. And finally, we learned that Katya was the ultimate mother figure of our class. Whether it be babysitting or general safety, Katya was always there to make sure everything went according to schedule and nobody got hurt. It is incredible to think that all this information I have given you is only the beginning of our class's book. I'd like to think our class was put together and organized as a group of students in 9th grade, or any other grade for that matter, but that would be far from the truth. While we were all finding ourselves, we left a tornado of chaos in our wake, but that did not last for long. I remember taking the Acadia trip with my class in 10th grade. That was certainly an interesting trip. Both one of the first very real and very serious bonding experiences of our class had was on the Beehive. Pete gave us his usual safety and instructional talk before we headed up the mountain, and because I had been on this trip before as an 8th grader, I knew some people might have difficulties with the sharp cliff faces. We made our way up the first set of iron bars and everyone looked good. The group was surprisingly holding together. As we made our way up the mountain, letting each other know where to step and where it was safe to pull yourself up, I couldn't help realizing how my class was functioning together for the first time. It took a group effort for us to make it up the Beehive, and I was proud to know that this class was making the strides it needed to. Senior year started not on the first day of school, but a couple days prior in a yurt. We all arrived at school before heading out to the yurt. Either sunburned or tan, we headed out to what we thought would just be a get-together for our class. This yurt trip ended up being a real shock to our class. We found things out about each other that we really never knew. I remember sitting in a circle with my classmates, sharing about our lives and all the hidden things that we hadn't told each other. And that was when I knew it was going to be an amazing year. What we thought was going to be just another year at VCS turned out to be a changing point for many of us. As we finished up sports seasons, whether they be in the fall, winter, or spring, we realized what was happening. These were the last moments that we had to share with our school as students. These were the last moments that we had to pass on what we had learned to younger students. And these were the last moments we had to leave a mark on the school. The running joke that our class made for several years was, our class is so dysfunctional, we are going to be the worst senior class the school has ever seen. That statement couldn't be further from the truth now. I saw my class soar through senior year with flying colors. The amount of love and compassion this class has for the school and the students in it might not be as noticeable as we'd like it to be, but it is there. As the capstone to our high school careers, we left a mark on the school. That mark not only shows that we made it through senior year, but it shows that a class can come together under stressful situations, conquer any and all challenges put forth, and still be standing at the end of it all. The class of 2013 has set the bar high for future classes, and we challenge you all to do the best you can to pass it. As our book comes to a close, I couldn't be prouder of the people we have become. Mia is still that aspiring artist, except even better than I could imagine. Gabe is still helping kids with math, except on a calculus level. Henry France has chased his passion to be a chef, and I can't wait to see him working for Wolfgang Puck one day. Jonah has grown in his talent for debating and political discussion, except he has Reddit at his side, making him an unstoppable force in the debating world. Justin is still as much a dude as he ever was, and if I had to describe him in one sentence, it would be cars, 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 cars. Maddie has now moved from one pun every 5 sentences to one pun every 3 sentences, and a welcome recipient of the title Most Sassy. Henry Sather is still the same explorer, except he does it in warm ocean waters now. Yvonne is still mixing tunes together, except he got accepted to a renowned school of music and is on his way to the iTunes top 10 list of every genre. Charlotte is the same nature lover, except this time when she saves that tree, she'll involve rock climbing somehow. And last, but certainly not least, Katya is still the mother of our class, and many others. She has increased her caring skills, and is now able to risk kneecaps and ankles for a child's safety. And me, I'm no longer the tall guy, unfortunately, but I will take my title as Class Diva. Come end of senior year, I remembered sitting in a yurt with my entire class. I remember how we ate lunch blindfolded and how we laughed about how awful college apps were. I never thought that our senior year together would fly by so quickly. These are the people I had spent my life with for the past 5 years. We spent that time annoying each other, bonding with each other, and making sure we didn't set each other on fire. On accident, of course. These are the people I will sorely miss, and I can already feel myself getting a little homesick. It is with the utmost sincerity that I can say I wouldn't mind making a sequel to the school's #1 bestseller with my class. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the class of 2013.